Thank you so much for joining us on xyspark. This evening we have a very exciting presentation. We have a special guest that's joining us. We have some important information that we'd like to share with you. You know, COVID-19 has been going on, and at xyspark, our passion is to really help to empower men, whereby empowering families, whereby we become better able to cope in the society. And so this evening, as I promised, we have a special guest. Okay, our special guest this evening is Edgar Tapia. Edgar is a wonderful colleague of mine. I can tell a little bit about Edgar. You know, Edgar, he has been an engineer. He used to be an engineer for about 9 years of his life. And amazingly, Edgar decided that he wanted to become more financially savvy. And so what Edgar did is Edgar decided to make a segue to learn more about the art of managing money. And you know, for the past 4 years, Edgar has been one of the gurus in the financial field. And how I know this is because I myself have talked with Edgar, and I thought to myself how exciting it would be to have Edgar to come on XY Spark and talk a little bit with all of our listening audience about how to manage money. In particular, I want to make this presentation geared towards our male listeners. And if you're a female, you can go and tell your partner to come and listen to this. So tonight I'm excited to introduce to you Edgar Tapia, and you know I really hope that from our presentation this evening you will learn something that you can take away to bring changes. So Edgar, welcome. Please welcome and just introduce yourselves.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for that introduction, Rolando. I really appreciate the opportunity here, and I'm very honored. First of all, that a person of your quality and your humbleness is always very uplifting for me. Since the moment I talked to you the first time, I was very moved the way you speak, the way you promote yourself, and to have a person like you saying that those things about me make me feel very, very, very good. So thank you for that introduction. And the next thing is, well, I guess I'm going to tell you guys about my story. I'm originally from Ecuador.
Mm-hmm.
I've been living in Canada already for well, it's going to be 16 years now.
Mm.
Yeah, you were right. I came here as an engineer. I I graduated in 2008, and then of course, I started working in the engineering field for the 10 years almost.
Mm.
And it was I'm very passionate about technology. I'm a computer engineer, and very, very passionate about technology, and everything has to do with systems, and I consider myself very good at that. But also, one thing I realized that my lack of knowledge in the financial side of things took me into a position that I couldn't I couldn't handle anymore. And things like this you don't get taught, you don't get teach in the university. And coming as an international student, you pay a lot for your education, and then after that you have to, like, you pay a lot of money. You expect to get that kind of education from university, but sometimes even the professors don't know about this stuff. and
Mhm.
and one of
Mhm.
the things that I'm very honored that you actually approached me to do, or to explain, or give a little bit of word of knowledge about how people can get ahead, especially men, right? Like, I mean, we're trying to, with all this pandemic happening, people are
Mhm.
struggling out there. People are more scared out there right now because of the financial situation than the actual sickness by itself, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that is one of the things that caught my attention as well. Like, every time that something like this happens, more people are more scared about, hey, what is going to happen with my job? And going back in 2016, I was very moved when the oil gas, sorry, in 2015, the oil gas went dropped pretty dramatically, and then that hit Alberta pretty bad,
Mhm.
and that put me
Mhm.
into a position that, with in the company I was working, they started laying off people, and for the first time in many years, I've never seen a layoff actually in the company I used to work for many years. And the first time to see that kind of moved you, because they're laying off people that you know and that you may build a relationship, and that also started bringing the moral down in the company. And
Mm.
then the environment started being very sad, and with fragrance, and it was not a happy, I mean, place to be. And especially when people are being laid off, I mean, it's horrible. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
never been in a position
Mhm.
like that, but
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't recommend it to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and because I was managing the systems, I knew ahead who was going to be laid off. And
Mm.
that power, I mean, in that sense, because there was actually the company I used to work for, there was only two IT guys work
Mm.
managing the whole company, and the company had many offices
Mhm.
um, around Canada. and
Mhm.
and and I decided, okay, you know what? Maybe I have a stable job, and maybe I can keep my job forever. But you know, jobs are, in my opinion, are not eternal. And also, you can. My dad used to say, no one is indispensable
Mhm.
in life.
Mhm.
No one.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you have to
Mhm.
make yourself dispensable
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
indispensable, right? Like,
Yeah.
you have to keep growing. You have to like move yourself, or change, or move away from your comfort zone. And that's
Mhm.
one of the things that I started doing. I read a book that kind of like give me a guidance in 2016, where it says, hey, can I mention books here? I don't know if I can mention
Absolutely.
books. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Perfect. So I didn't know. The book actually is called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by Steve Harv Eker. Very good book.
Mhm.
I recommend
Mhm.
it. Actually changed my life
Mhm.
in many ways. And one of
Mhm.
those are to open my mind
Mhm.
about opportunities. Sometimes
Mhm.
when we are in this type of environment, when they basically you have to go do your job and get out. You
Mhm.
just want to get out.
Mhm.
This book allowed me to expand my mind, my vision. And one of the things that they say in order to manage your finances, and one of the secrets are per se, is you need to find your money blueprint.
Mm.
And in finding the money blueprints, there's two ways you can actually basically do it. You learn about finance,
Mhm.
or you find someone, in this case an advisor, or a mentor that knows about finance, right?
Mm.
So those are
Mhm.
one of the things that I started doing. And I
Mhm.
found, I found a friend, and he was actually working in the financial field. And, he used to work with me in a previous job. Um, and, for seeing, he was a computer engineer like myself. And then
Mhm.
he was actually working in finance now. For me, that was what is this? What is going on? And
Yeah.
he was working in a very good job, but he got laid off twice in the same day.
Oh wow.
And two houses, two mortgages, two kids, a wife,
Mhm.
it's a big
Mhm.
responsibility, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I sit down with him, and I call him just because I need a phone from another person. And he's, hey, I'm working in finance now. Like, let's have a sit down. And I sit down, and just for curiosity, they were able to help me and my wife free up a lot of money into what we were doing already.
Wow.
And that opened my eyes. I was like, okay, the reason why I sit down with him is because I read this book,
Mhm.
because I was
Mhm.
open to opportunities.
Mhm.
Then I sit down and I say, hey, my pride has to go away. Sometimes pride actually locks us up in many
Hold on,
ways.
Edgar. Hold on. You said something, Edgar, and you are here we have, and I'm cutting you a little bit, Edgar,
That's okay.
but here we have, and that's why I invite people like this to come to XY Spark, guys. I'm talking to my listeners because here's a man who's saying that pride was something that he struggled with. Okay, and I'm excited to hear what you're going to say about this piece, Edgar. So what about pride, and what brought you now to where you are? Because as I hear you say that, pride is something that most of us as men we struggle with that. So how did you break out of that?
Well, association for me is very important. There's a couple books that mention that you are the part of the five people that you surrounded the most. And when I read this book, basically that's I'm associating with the author. Let's say if you don't have a mentor, you don't have, like, good circle of associations right now, but that doesn't mean that you cannot reach it. You cannot be resourceful, and then go and read some good books,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're relating in that case with the author. So one of the things that for me, I guess, served me was the fact that I was able to, open my mind to be a little bit more humble, find
Mm-hmm.
myself to be more humble, and just,
Mm-hmm.
let my pride go away. Because especially I'm from Latino America,
Mm-hmm.
and we are very pride men. Like the salsa and all this stuff. We always want to look like sharp, and we are broke in the back, right?
Yeah.
So we always want to pretend something that we're not,
Mm.
and that's pride. That's for me is a way of pride that is not doesn't serve you,
Mm.
because it move you away from you who you really are, and then
Wow.
trying to come back is very, very hard. And
Mm.
sometimes you have to, like, be reborn. Like you have to,
Mm-hmm.
like, be broke, and like, because life is like that, right? Like life is gonna put you in this in who you really need to be.
Mm-hmm. And so, Edgar, as I'm listening to you, I'm hearing that this can also have an impact on your mental health as well. Because I'm here saying, Rolando, you kind of have to be reborn, have to be broken, and that's something that a lot of men struggle with. We get to that place, Edgar, where sometimes we feel cornered. We feel like there's no direction. We don't have any hope. We don't know what to do, and so the pride sort of pushes our backs against the wall. So how did this help you, and what is how did this help you to impact the community? And right now, based on the journey that you've been through, how has this helped you to impact the community? And what does this have to do with managing your money and really becoming more savvy in the way you manage your money? So you left engineering and you came now into finance, from reading this amazing book that you spoke about, and now you're in finance. So how are you impacting the community now? How has it changed your life?
Well, the way, at least, I never gonna advise something that I have never tried for myself,
Mm,
because it's like you want to recommend a movie that you haven't seen. So for me, the way it impacted me, financially, impacted me socially. Finance is not the problem sometimes. The problem is not money. Money is just a result of your habits, in my opinion. So
mm,
let's say, for example, um, money is like a magnifier of something. If
mm-hmm,
you're a good person and
mm-hmm,
you make a lot of money, you're gonna be more good.
mm-hmm,
If you are if you're a bad person and you have a lot of money, you're gonna be really, really, really bad. So for me, when I talk about this, I say, okay, how can I actually impact someone? Because this is what happened when I was in my training appointments. I was basically, there was two circle of friends. So two of my circle of friends, they were actually, having a lot of debt. We didn't know, but we put a plan together with me
mm-hmm,
and my coach, in this case, my trainer. And then after a couple of months, they called me and say, "Hey, thanks for saving my marriage."
mm.
So for
Wow.
me, it was impactful. Like, I mean, after a couple of months, they call me and say, "Hey, I've fixed a lot of computers and networks in the past, and help people with their Word documents and things like that. But never doing that, I save a marriage."
Mm. So you would say then to get some knowledge about how to manage your money has several benefits. It's
Many
not
benefits.
just for you in your own experience, Edgar. What would you say are some of the major benefits that you have seen from learning, um, from being educated about money? What do you say are some of the things that you have benefited?
Okay, so the way I think of the people, if how they can benefit from this is, you know, a couple of basic, simple things. You know, from the fact that who you're doing this for. So you have
Mm,
to ask yourself, okay, if I go to work tomorrow, why I'm going to work tomorrow? Because the reason why I'm going to be benefiting that purpose. Or if I don't have any purpose, then it just goes away. It's just
Mhm.
energy that's not being utilized.
Mhm.
So for me, the way I presented myself is, if I'm able to impact a couple families, right, or
Mhm.
serve them, let's say, getting out of that, the same way that it happened to me.
Mhm.
I mean, some people go out there to the, and I'm not trying to put in any way a bad name for financial institutions or banks, but I'm
Mhm.
not a financial institution by any means.
Mm.
Like, how the way I serve is I focus 100% on the clients, on the families.
Mhm.
So the way I can impact or benefit someone from, let's say, finding a financial broker in this case, because that's what basically I am, is that there is a lot of bias in the service. So
Mm.
that's one of the ways how we can impact or benefit families in the financial side of things. I guess I'm not, if correct me if I'm mistaken, but when you go to the bank, normally people go to any bank whatsoever is because you're being normally advised to go to that bank by a person that is not a financial advisor. And second of all, is because of convenience,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
And we
Mhm.
go, and there's so many good banks, but which one is the best for me, for
Mm.
my goals, for what I actually need to do?
Mhm.
And that's one of the things. And then the second thing is the amount of options that the market can, or in this case, the industry can offer, is limited when you only go to one financial institution in this case. So when we talk about benefits is the fact that you have more options when you have someone like, they have an unbiased service, and you focus 100% on the family, on the person, or an individual in this case.
Mm.
So for me, that's the way I think that or that I benefit someone. When I sit down, I do care that this person save more money, pay their debts faster, pay their house faster, and then, for example, also start investing their money, and having the money working harder for them, instead of all the time working hard for the money. Because
Mm.
that's the thing for me. I've learned so many things in these 4 years that I've been switch careers, that I can, and I still learning. It's not
Mhm.
that I know everything yet. I
Mhm.
still learning every single day. you know and it's for me, finance is just a behavior environment. Think
Mm.
about this. It's all about behavior. If people are scared, then the market goes down. If people are happy, market goes up. They're willing to
Okay.
purchase, and so for me, I would say it's kind of like technology of behavior. So that's why for me, that's something that I was lacking in my knowledge. I was
Mm.
I would say I was good with people, but not good with people. I'd say I didn't have that many patience, too much patience.
Mhm.
So so with this, I kind of, two things. I had to put myself away from that comfort zone that what I was talking before.
Mhm.
And guys, this is something I always say. Dealing with that is not an easy topic.
Mm.
People sometimes are ashamed, people are scared, or people are hopeless.
Mm.
And the way you can serve here by knowing, not like getting some information about finance, understanding how the basic concept of money, or the basic concept of how you're gonna be able um, to create a legacy for your family. I mean, it doesn't have to be big. It all depends on the person.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
we help with that. If you help them, I mean, you're changing the nation. Something that I always, and I do. Am I answering your question correctly in that sense?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
Edgar, you know something? Because I have you, I want to ask you a question. Uh, we have a lot of we have a lot of men now who uh, they are making some bad choices, especially now that we're in COVID.
Hmm.
You know, people are, as you say, people are very scared now. People are getting laid off. A lot of men are drinking more, are smoking more. You know, people are in panic, and a lot of times people are in panic, I find, from my own way as a psychotherapist, when people are in panic, they make bad decisions and oftentimes bad financial decisions. So if there was one thing that you would want to say to the men who are listening to our podcast about managing their money, what would that one thing be as a sort of encouragement? What would you say to them right now based on, everyone is in panic, people not sure where to go? What would you say to the men now that you think would be helpful as it relates to managing their money?
For me, something that has helped me a lot is
Hmm.
having an accountability partner.
Mm.
Let You can call it a coach, or you can call it just a kind of accountable someone you respect so much
Mm-hmm.
that when you are about to do something, and everybody's gonna find someone like that. Like everybody have their best friends, and then or friends that are very like very savvy or very mature. I would say that's the word. I don't know if that's
Mm-hmm.
the correct word of saying, but for me, it's having someone that you are accountable to, and that
Okay.
whenever you're gonna be doing something, financially speaking, in this case, you're gonna ask for advice.
Okay.
Hey, I'm about to do this, but the problem that I see most of the time, Rolando, is that when you're seeking advice, let's say if I want to lose weight,
Mm-hmm.
do I'm gonna go and maybe that person knows a lot about nutrition, but I usually gonna look for someone that is fit, maybe not like super muscular, but fit.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see that he's healthy or this person is healthy, but
Mm-hmm.
you need to know who you're getting the advice from.
Yeah.
That's so important, in my opinion, because sometimes we get
Okay.
deviated of the actual message that we need to get.
Mm. Mm-hmm. So the message is make sure you're getting advice from persons who are stable and know what you're talking about.
Correct.
Okay, fantastic. Here's my next question for you, Edgar, is if I do not know anything about finances, where do I start? Because I'm here, yes, I'm working, I'm making big bucks, I feel like have everything that I need, but I really don't know anything about finances. So if I don't know anything about finances, where do I start?
Well, that's a good question, and I would say that two things you have to do. You either learn about finance, start reading a couple of good books about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most people, whenever if, and you said, let's say I'm making a lot of money, but I don't know where to start to actually put the money and save it and make it actually grow. What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
So then find someone, and like it comes back to the same message I just mentioned before. You say, find someone, an advisor that can help you, can guide you, or a mentor, or someone that has exactly what you're looking for, that life that you want,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, for example, and if you don't have it right now, it's all about probably seeking and be open-minded about getting that information and 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 understanding who you're getting the advice from. So for me, those are the two only ways that people can actually, okay, how can I actually start improving my finances? Or you either take or learn the knowledge, or you
Mm-hmm.
take the experience from someone else.
Okay, okay, okay.
So
But there's so many places like that. I mean, I'm guessing then that you just have to find one that resonates more with you and sit down and do so. A one visit to an advisor would do. How often do you think we should do it? Should we have like a quarterly thing? Should we what should we do? Because I really want my listeners to get some idea of, what, this is what I recommend. Do it quarterly, do it every 6 months, do it at least once a year. How? What do we do?
okay, so if we got into a little bit more specifics, says, okay, we need to, if you're gonna take care of your own money and no advisor whatsoever, I would say quarterly.
Okay.
and
Okay.
and and understanding balance sheets, and understanding the stock market, and or probably understanding what are how you pay less taxes,
Mm-hmm.
understanding all this stuff that sometimes for many people takes years to learn. Not
Mm-hmm.
it's like even more than going just to university.
Mm.
My dad also told me once that, hey, Edgar, when I graduated, he said, hey, what you learn in university doesn't fit even in the head of a needle.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good thing. Sort of kept you humbly, Edgar. So you leave and you're thinking, I have this world of knowledge, and along comes dad and gives you that reality check. Like,
Yeah,
hey, listen, the head of the
first
nail.
thing he
Yeah.
told me, yes. So I was very blown away by that. But I would say, hey, get find an advisor. There's a big statistic that came out 2 years ago, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
not mistaken, that said that the 90% of people that get to retire in Canada
Mm-hmm.
is because they have a financial advisor.
Oh
Only
wow.
10% from the people that retire, also from the group that get to retire, because how many people don't retire actually? That's the other
Mm-hmm.
question. But I'm not giving that stat. But the 90% of the people that retire is
Mm-hmm.
because they have a financial advisor.
Wow. So I'm going to jump in here, Edgar, and say, hey, if you don't have an advisor as yet, I would recommend that you get one, because
Yes.
the last time I listened, Edgar, it was quite clear that many persons, they have zero or very minimal amount of money in their retirement savings. And I'm not an expert on that. I feel like I'm crossing over into your field there. Okay, but I've heard that, and so I would really want to encourage us. So what would you say is the value of a broker and of having an advisor, Edgar? What's the value in that? Because a lot of persons don't do that. What value is there in having that?
Well, think about, and it all depends, right? Um, for me, there has to be a direct connection with that person. I mean, you have to know the person somehow. Like either I know we're in the pandemic times, but we can still, you can see my face, you can see the way I express, you can see my eyes. And I mean, if there's something you have to connect with the person who's going to be helping you, and you have to trust. Me coming from a background in Latin America, trust is a very, I would say, it's a very hard thing to just give at the beginning. You have to like really, really earn it. And in Canada, it's totally the opposite. People trust first. So if I want to become like Canadians in the sense of success, you have to start with trust. You cannot do business with no trust. It's
Mm,
impossible.
mm,
So we have to switch that little thing in our heads and start trusting a little bit more, right?
mhm,
And then that's the first thing for me. Find and the value that the brokers, or in this case the advisor, for me, I'm a broker. I'm more than just an advisor, but I'm a broker because basically I have access to a pool of different companies, and one of the biggest financial companies in Canada. So that gives me a lot of options, so I can tools that I can use to address particular issues, financially speaking, in the family. So that is, for example, for me, very, very important whenever you're going to get an advice. Banks are not your friends, they're just a tool.
mm,
Insurance companies are not your friends, they're just a tool.
mm,
That's the way I see it. So,
mhm,
so at
mhm,
the end of the day, what matters is the how you're going to be using the tool. Can you hurt yourself using a tool that you don't know how to use?
mm.
Definitely, right?
Wow.
So people, and the majority, and I was including, I'm including in that area, is where most people out there are suffering financially, not because of the lack of banks, it's because of the lack of education in the financial industry.
Mm,
So that's the main idea for me is, okay, the brokers bring that you're not getting in the banks.
mm.
First, the service. The value is the service that you're getting, the personalized service, um, the unbiased service, and the options that you get from a broker.
Wow. Okay, wow. Thank you, Edgar. So, Edgar, man, we are almost out of time, But before we even do that, Edgar, I really would like you to give us some closing financial tips, because I wouldn't want to have you here and don't get from you some financial tips. So, what are some closing financial tips that you would want to leave our listeners with?
Okay. So financial tips, I would say number one, live below your means, please. We live in an era where there is everything like social media like crazy, and we want to pretend a lifestyle that we actually don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea for me is that you have to be humble enough to say, okay, live like no one today, so you can live like no one else tomorrow. And so, first thing for me is live below your means. Create a budget. There's a lot of software right now that can connect to your bank accounts, and basically get idea of where your money is. For me, when I sit down with my clients, I always tell them, hey, money, treat every dollar that you make as an employee.
Hmm.
So every dollar needs to have a job. Very, very important. And I actually learned this from, I'm going to say it right here. I hope I can say it. Can I mention another?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep,
Okay, perfect.
absolutely.
So that I would recommend something. There's a lot of tools, online tools you can get involved, and one of them I recommend is YNAB. You need a budget. I've been using that tool for many, many, many years, even before I switched to the financial industry. And I
Mm-hmm.
would say, hey, that's a very good tool. The way they teach people how to manage your money is very, very good. There's free information, but nonetheless, I mean, you still need the advice of what are the problems you're going to need in order to accomplish your financial thing. So that would be my second advice. Hey, get an advisor, get a broker, get
Mm-hmm.
someone that actually do care for your financial health.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because when
Wow.
you impact that, I mean, when you like, just picture it like this. Think about like your house is paid off. You wake up tomorrow, your house is paid off, your cars are paid off, all your debts are gone. What would you be doing?
Man, Edgar, don't ask me that question, because I'm going to tell you, I'd probably be on the beach somewhere, not in this place.
Totally. Let's escape
I
from
would
that.
be on the
No,
beach somewhere, Edgar. I'm telling you. So you don't want to ask me that.
but that's the thing. I mean, what at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself that. Like, if tomorrow I wake up and I have no debt, what would I be doing? That's
Mm-hmm.
basically your dream. That's basically what you really want to do. If all the
Mm-hmm.
time and money, if the time and money is not a problem, an issue right now in your life, what would you be doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
work towards it, and and associate with people that is going to be able to give you that, that path to achieve
Mm-hmm.
that. So for me, I would say, hey, live below your means. Use a good tool that help you manage your money. Know exactly if if you want to measure something, you need to track it.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible not to, like. And I sit down many, many times with a lot of people. They don't track their expenses, and money just start flowing away.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is that. Second thing, like I said, get a broker, someone that you actually trust as well. Like, give people a chance as well. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
I want to sit down with a broker and see what they can do, what they can offer, and,
Mm-hmm.
and, and
Mm-hmm.
see the value. But you have to.
Wow.
That's my recommendation on how you can actually, good tips, because that changed my life.
Mm-hmm. 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 Wow,
That's basically
Edgar,
how it changed.
that's powerful. I like what you said, that uh, every dollar should be treated like an employee. Never heard that one before, and I'll borrow that from you, Edgar. I'll be sure to credit the source.
Yeah, but I
But
don't want to get the credit because I actually learned it from YNAB.
yeah, yeah.
They are the ones that actually.
And you say this place is Wine Up, is a place where we can go and get some knowledge and stuff.
Yes, it's called You Need a Budget. I always
Okay.
recommend it to all my clients. I mean, it's very, very important people to know where they're at. I mean, know your credit score. Every 6 months, I would do like a pull up a free credit report. You need to know where you at. So you know where you are. Then you have a beginning, and now you can create a purpose, and you can have a go to point A to point B. But if I don't know where point A is, where are you going?
Yeah, yeah.
Financially speaking, right?
Mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm,
and those are the things that we actually help here to do. Like one of my passions is to give people purpose on their money.
mm-hmm. And guys, you know what? Let me tell you, man, I'm so excited because I invited Edgar specifically because of what he's been talking about. Has a lot of knowledge. And Edgar, let me ask you, let's say someone who is listening would like to contact you for more information. How could they contact you? What's your contact information?
Well, very good question, actually. You can go on Facebook. I have a financial services portal there,
Mm-hmm,
and you can go there and book an appointment if you want. Um,
mm-hmm.
you can contact me by email or even by my phone number. I mean, all my information is right there.
Okay,
It's public, and you can
okay,
reach me out anytime. I mean, it's super simple. Leverage technology
okay,
at most as much as I can, and that's the best way.
okay.
And if but what I say is make sure that you do something ASAP, guys. We are living a moment where people are just focused too much on the problem, but they don't focus on the solution,
Mm,
right? So if you're struggling right now financially out there, I mean,
mhm,
do something about it. Find someone to help you.
mhm,
Um, but if you don't take action, you're never going. It's very hard to go. Like you cannot escape that situation. You have to wake up and put some work, get out of your comfort zone. And if you in this time you're in a lot of debt or you're looking for a second source of income, that's another recommendation I was actually forgetting to say. Hey, find multiple sources of income, not just one. If you really want to change your life, find multiple sources of income.
mhm,
You can definitely do it. Being having a job is okay, but for me, having a job was more like um, it mentally was draining to me
mm,
because the like I said, your environment dictates your mentality.
mm,
So if
mm,
you're in a bad environment, trust me, your mentality when you get home, you're think about this. You when you wake up, you have all the energy, right? You are in a positive mindset. You go get in a toxic environment, and then you come back to your family and you give the residuals to them. Just
mhm, mhm,
the last.
mhm. Wow.
So that's one of the things that I also recommend. Hey, find multiple sources of income, and then so you can retire early and live that way that you really want to live.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Wow, Edgar, thank you, man. Man, thank you so much. You have really opened up my eyes tonight to a lot of things that I think is valuable, and I'm hoping that all our listeners and guys, if you really want to connect with Edgar to get more information, you can go to our Facebook page at xyspark, and you can find Edgar's information there. His phone number is there, his email address is there. And Edgar, what's your phone number? Because we have you here. What's your phone number?
Oh,
That
my phone number 780 two nine
uh-huh.
eight 9072.
So that's 780-298-9072. That's Edgar's number. You can call him up. You can connect with him. He's a great guy. I'm going to tell you a secret. He is my financial advisor. And so that's why I invited him to come on because I thought he did such a great job, and I'm feeling a lot more comfortable, a lot more savvy. And he'll tell you I'm the guy who every now and again I just send him a text or I will harass him. And so I said, Edgar, I need to come and talk to the men, talk to my listeners about money management. And he did not hesitate. And so let us remember those big tips that he gave us. I can't reiterate those tips enough. Number one, he says, live below your means. Live below your means. Number two, from YNAB, he says, treat every dollar like an employee. Number three, he says, find an advisor, someone who has knowledge in money who can sort of gear you into the right direction. Okay, and I don't remember if there's a number four, Edgar, forgive me, but he gave
Multiple
us
sources of income.
multiple sources of income. How could I forget that one? but he says seek to look and explore that. And I believe that this is great. You know, Edgar, we're so glad that you took the time to join us, and we're hoping that from this um, podcast, from this broadcast. We're on YouTube and Facebook Live right now, Edgar, and I'm hoping that those who listen, they will stay tuned and they'll continue to be a part of our conversation. Just before we wrap up, I just wanted to take this opportunity to let all my listeners know that next Saturday you cannot afford to miss my guest. Next Saturday we have a special guest where we're going to be talking about nutrition. Listen, man, I'm telling you this.
I
You
need it.
can't afford to miss it. Okay?
I need
You
it.
want to learn about how to have proper nutrition, how to be healthier, how to have a better sex life, how to combat impotency, how to beat diabetes. I'm telling you guys, you can't afford to miss it. I am pumped for next week. Okay?
I'm pumped too.
And Edgar, listen. We hope that you'll come back again to be with us in XY Spark.
Yeah, no, thank you
And
so much for
thank you,
having me.
man.
I appreciate it. Rolando, like I said before, the moment I spoke with you, you're always happy. You always have a thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Okay, Edgar. You have a good one.
Bless.
Please join Rolando next time on XY Spark as he engages us in practical discussions that promote healthy masculinity and challenge men to live extraordinary lives. At XY Spark, we believe there's a spark in you.